Today we will show you how you can activate or add any activities you'd like your students to complete for a clinical experience. We're going to head on over to our left menu and we're going to go over to Learning Activity Management. And you'll want to filter for the specific class that you'd like to enable activities for. If you do not see any courses listed for the specific cohort you're trying to work with, make sure that you do add that course and rotation information. You can add courses and rotations within placements. On this page, you're going to see some standard columns here: evaluation, patient log, timesheet and time off, and assignments. If you will never use timesheet and time off or patient log, for example, you can have those removed, but our team does enable them for you in case you'd like to use them at any point in time. To activate or add items, you're going to go ahead and click Configure. The evaluation section will house any standard forms our team has created for you, or any custom forms that you have asked us to create for you. Patient log will have the patient log form. Timesheet and time off will have the form for students to track their hours and request time off. And assignments will be anything that you'd like to capture so students can upload for you. We're going to go ahead and look at evaluation, so you'll click on Configure. And here you will see the standard forms first. We have the CI details, CIET, which is the evaluation tool that is an alternative to the CPI, PTSC1 and PTSC2, which are the APTA forms bundled with the CI details, where your student will tell you about their experience about the site or the clinical instructor. You'll see some columns here that will tell you the published date, which means your students will be able to see the form, and the midterm and final due dates if they are needed. You also see the form status. Down below, you're going to see any custom form. So if you have something like a TCE survey, an exit survey, anything of that sort, you will see those here and you can activate them as well. To activate these forms, you're going to click on the gear icon. The very first question is activate. So if you do want to enable this form, you're going to toggle this over and just make sure that it is highlighted in purple. Next up is, does this form contribute to the student's final score? So does this contribute to their grade? If it does, you'll go ahead and say yes, and you can say this is 40% of their grade. If it doesn't, you'll go ahead and leave that as no. For our publish and due dates, we do not use actual dates, but rather anchors. So if you want to publish the form on the day that the clinical experience starts, you'd enter 0 days after or before the placement start date. If you'd like it to be 1 week after the start date, you type in 7 days after the placement start date. For the due date, the same thing. If you'd like for the midterm form to be due right on the midterm, you'll go ahead and say 0 days after or before the placement mid date. And for the due date, if it's a little bit after the end of the experience, let's say 3 days, you'll go ahead and enter in 3, and after, and placement end date. Once you're done making all your changes, you'll go ahead and save. And that will activate the form for you. You'll see now the published date, midterm due date, final due date, and the form status is active. All right, we'll head on back to the main list. Now, instead of configure, you now see that this is active, which means you have enabled at least one form within that section.